Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, sorry, we just had some technical difficulties with our camera. It's really windy and cold out, so after the camera stopped shooting, we actually caught about 4 more fish, and we got them pretty active here, so we're going to see if we can pop a couple more off this spot. This is one of the best days I've seen, pretty much all year, so really happy to be fishing today. Now all we're doing, like I said earlier, we're alternating, baits. I was throwing, there's one, there's a good one. Oh yeah, that's a real good one. Oh, shoot. Well, that happens when you're fishing treble hooks. Like I said earlier, you can't horse them in. If at all possible, use a fiberglass rod, or at least a composite rod, fiberglass blend. That really helps. This rod right here, this is a graphite rod, and I wouldn't have lost that fish if it was on a glass rod. So I might have to switch up here and go back to the crankbait, because I got both of my cranks on glass rods. And with these smallmouth, it really helps because they like to do all their acrobatics and jump and everything else, and they make some really, there's one. I'm gonna take my time with this one right here. That's another good one. Oh my God. So good fish, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that one might have been a little too heavy to flip, but guess what? He's in the boat nonetheless. That one right there is wanting to be 4 pounds, but he's probably a good 3.5. We've been catching fish like this pretty much all day, but this spot right here, we've caught probably about 10 fish off of it now within the last 50 yards, so I'm gonna try getting him back in the water and catching another one. He's a brute. That's a brute. That fish might even go 4 pounds, Never know. This time of the year, they're so heavy, feeding up so much. It's crazy. Let's see if we can get another one. Absolutely my favorite type of fishing. This is a dream spot right here. When you can just throw and keep catching fish cast after cast. It's unbelievable. But it's a typical fall feeding pattern. Like I said, this wind blowing upriver really positioned these smallmouth right on the end of this point, and they're just ambushing, whether it be shad or creek chub or crayfish. They're just ambushing bait as it gets washed by. And all I'm doing is throwing a Lucky Craft white minnow 100. I'm throwing it with the wind, so it's not real hard to cast at all, and you don't even really have to work that bait all that hard on the throw. Just get it to swim by one. Nope. Oh, I lost him. Might switch up here in a second and go back to a crankbait if I don't get one on this cast. But you know, like I said before, just keep alternating your baits and you should be able to put a couple more fish in the boat. Now I'm not ripping that bait really hard, not twitching it really hard. I'm just kind of giving it a long, steady pull. See the bait I'm throwing right here? Just a 100 series pointer minnow. Now with this rattle bait, I found that if you just kind of keep it at a medium pace, not burn it, but not slow roll it, you know, just a nice medium pace, they really hop on it, and when they eat the bait, they get it all the way down there. You don't have any trouble keeping them pinned, keeping them hooked. And like I was saying before, always want to try throwing your hard baits and your baits with treble hooks on fiberglass or composite rods. This right here is a Tour KVD crankbait stick, and I can't say enough about this rod. They're just absolutely awesome when you have a fish hooked, you know, not very well, or you only have one or two trebles in them. That's when these rods really shine, and they keep them pinned. And when you put those KVD treble hooks on there, number 2s, you know, when I first looked at those hooks, I thought they were way too big, but after using them, you know, I'll never go back to regular round bend trebles, you know, unless the situation calls for it. But these hooks are just absolutely amazing. And when you get them pinned on them, you really got to sit there and work on them with the pliers trying to get it out. So I think this school of fish might have wised up to our antics, so I'm going to try throwing a tube on them. If I don't get one with the tube, well, I might have to try a different spot. It's just typical fall fishing. I can't preach enough about catch and release, though. You know, these fish, especially up north, you know, takes these fish almost 10 years to get to be around 3.5 pounds. Come on a quality fishery, I'd highly suggest catch and release, and don't be a meat hunter. You know, there's no reason to eat them. You can go to the grocery store and buy fish. You know, leave these ones alone. When you're working these tubes, you know, there's obviously a lot of rock, a lot of wood. What you're going to want to do is every time you get snagged up or hung up on something, you don't want to pull really hard into the snag. You know, the harder you pull into the snag, the harder it's going to be to get it out. So, you know, all I do, like right now I'm hung up, I take my line with a couple fingers, I pull it out, and you just let it pop, give it some slack, comes right out every time. And you just continue to work your bait. A lot of times when you pop out of those snags,